Hi, this is Military Modeller Paul with a quick update on my Mark 7 U-boat, which is I think update number 6 now. I haven't done an update for a couple of weeks, I think it is, but this is it. I've actually got quite a bit further. I've not completely started the weathering. I did weather the deck, and I'll show you a little bit more of that later. But what we have actually done is we've actually painted up some of the details in regards to the actual 2cm gun on the actual bandstand, as I like to call it, and also I've painted all the wooden elements within the bridge, or the conning tower I should say, and I've also added the plates down below, and I'll go up a bit higher in a minute, you'll see what I mean, into the foot plates that actually stand on the side, because basically whenever you see the model house doesn't depict that, and there's no photo etch for it, so I used some plastic and cut it to shape to stuck it down, and I'll show you that in a minute when I lift it up. But it's where where if they're going to stick to the actual side of the thing, they're bound to stick to the actual floor. So that I've actually done the wooden bits, that is actually shown in a couple of pictures as well when you see the photographs. So decal, I've done the decals now on both sides, went on really well. I was quite pleased with that. At first I thought, you know, the old micro set's losing its touch, but I thought, no, do what everyone says, and I think Phil Flory says just leave it there and see what happens. And when I went back to it about 20 minutes later, you could see it settling down lovely, so I gave it another quick coat and left it, and it went down lovely, and they actually look painted on now, which is really nice. And what I did is I actually satin gloss varnish, old model as you know, and I actually done the same with the actual conning tower, and then they gave me a slightly glossy base to put it on. And the good thing is the semi-gloss looks nice anyway, because I face it, nothing is really matte, really overly matte anyway. So I've also done the handles, as you can see, on the actual machine gun, and painted up the actual like a leverish bit on there to stop them from sticking it. And also I've done the same with the actual, oh, if you can't see that, I'll go that to you. I'll just turn it slightly, hold on, here we go, see if we can get that. Yeah, I think you can. And we get all the actual handles on here have actually been painted like a rubbery grey colour to actually show it, because on the photographs it shows it as black, some books show it as brown, so I went with an in-between grey, and I thought myself, at the end of the day, who's going to know, because unless you can actually say it's brown, like a leathery brown, then I could go back and touch it up anyway. It's quite straightforward. The conning tower is not glued in place, but it's actually glued together now. That's all in one situ now. Even the actual fighting element, the gun area, is all glued in place, and quite happy how way that turned out. I still haven't done the light, so that's no problem. So let's come. Oh, lights you can't see, and here we go. If I come back to here, like that. This part here, the actual radar is actually not, or radar element is actually not in place. Actually stuck in place. It just lifts up and down. I've actually done redone the actual periscope, completely stripped it off, all the paint, and stripped off even the actual bit I'd done a detail at the top. I wasn't happy, it just looked slightly over the scale. It stood out too much, and it shouldn't have done. So this is what I've done, and I haven't painted the detail area, but I've actually painted it all there. And I think you can see now, if I can zoom in, I don't know whether this is going to work. Come back up. No, it doesn't, like it's too close. If I do that, there you go, you've got it. So that is it. I've actually done it now, and when I paint that the darker colour, it would look better, but it's more in scale, and it looks as if it would still go down inside the periscope area, which is what it would do if they wanted to put it all the way. So that's what I've done it for, so it actually stands up there. I think that looks quite nice now. I think it's 4 runs around it instead of more, because it's blooming hard to do anyway, unless some company comes out with a photo etch for it at some point in the future. But I'm happy with that. What I used is very fine plastic strip cut down, and the actual bars going round, I put plastic very fine, and I sanded it down so it's nearly gone. But then what I did, once I got me spirals on, I actually used the Tamiya masking tape and cut in very strict to do the 3 beads over it, because most of them have got overlaps over the metal. If you see the periscope, the actual periscope's anti-vibration device, you'll see that there's actually a bit goes over each bar. So I've used Tamiya tape for that, and then once it all dried on there and got it on there, I run over with some not crystal clear, some gator glue. Gator glue, and what I did is I actually thinned it down with a bit of water and run it over there nice and flat. So basically it's just got a little bit of adhesion on there as well. So that was quite nice. I'm quite pleased with that. Also, if I go to the decks, I think if I come back out now, go down, I think you can see I've done a little bit more weathering there, and basic combination of the original, the actual went on there with the teal colour, which is like a wood colour, and then I went over with the black preservative, and then I was come back in with the teal colour, rubbing, dry brushing all in certain areas where most of the wear would go, and then went over with some white, like an off-white salty colour, which is part of the Lifecolor paint range, and then dry brushed again, so it gives it a tint of white, you know, where the old wood was, because originally the wood would eventually fade back to that anyway. So, but as I said, I haven't done any real weathering on the actual submarine apart from that so far. And now if I scan around here, I think you'll see the anchors in place over there. I've actually glued it in place. It's had a bit of rust painting, and then I've glued it in place because now I can work round it and flow some oils back behind it as well, and gradually sort of bring it into it. The anchors weren't used a great deal, to be quite honest. Most of the time in port it would actually be tied up using the actual bollards that are on board the ship that are actually sunk down, because the grey areas you can see there, whoops, you can see over there, I'll just show you one there, and there's two here. They were actually raised up. They could be raised up to actually used for more in the ship in the harbour. So you can imagine submarines were very rarely anchored. So that would get really rusty because salt water going over all the time and open to the elements. They possibly would paint it every now and then, but I might just dab a couple of paints on it, but I'm thinking rust would be the best thing for that. So really, let's get back up, and I might be able to get that higher view over the bridge if I can do it. Just go up, excuse the old movement now. Now I think you can see the actual a bit better now if I can get this down. Here you go, and I'm going to turn it around. Sorry about this. Here we go. And I might have to take the camera off to get this. If I turn that on, that might be better. Yeah, right, here we go. So I'm going to take the camera off. So excuse me, this is going to be a freehand. I didn't use my gimbal. So if I just take this. I'm going to try and keep it as steady as I can. See the walk areas on the floor, and that's exactly what they would be. So sorry about my unsteady hands. Might be the easiest way to do it, right? All along the deck. You see the weathering on the deck I've done. I've still got all the rusting to do, of course. Building up slowly but surely. I'm going to go back slowly the other way. I know Harry Houdini won't like this, but it's a case of it's easy to do, and I will stop and start a little bit. There you go. Whoops, I had to move there, sorry about that. No one ever likes doing these shaky ones, but I think you'll see what I mean. I've got to do the little boot line around the bottom, around where the conning meets the bridge. That's okay. Get a better view of this now if I try and hold it steady. There you go. Got to drill a hole in the front where the aerial goes in later. Then I've got the holes back in place because I had to drill them out because the paint got in there. But yeah, so I'm going to go back onto here. Sorry about this. Tie back on. Now what I'm going to do is zoom out a little bit, and I'll show you this wood that the actual model is not based on now is not the original. Sorry about that. And I'll come back out a bit further, and there you go. Now this is what it will be mounted on. These are the brass bits, but allow me to do a lot of the weathering down underneath. I'm not worried about any of this wood getting affected, because basically this is just a temporary to hold her in place while I'm building her. And I will tape round this a little bit, but to be honest, I think it won't be needed because I won't be flapping it too much around that area. So that's the pedal stick's gone. I used this will be a nice template and all for my main base when I glue it on. And so really that's the end of this update, and little short one, quick, short and sweet, but you can see she's coming along nicely. I have been working a little bit on her, and so it's been fun. So I'm just going to zoom into the conning tower to call it quits on this video. And oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, on the conning tower itself, and if I come out slightly, there you go, on the conning tower itself, I've actually done oily steel, a model colour of Vallejo's model colours, and I used it with, and I'll just show the mix I did it. There we go. What is, I brushed it on down and smoothed. What I used Vallejo's steel, and I mixed it with their thinners and got it nice and runny, and done 3 coats of that, and it gives a nice shiny effect, and that's okay. But I will have to put some grease on there at the top and at the bottom, and a little bit fludgy round, because it would have been greasy because it, you know, up and down all the time. The other one's going to be further in. I can push that down a bit further. I'll do it later, but that's going to be further down because most of the time that one there was further down like that anyway. You wouldn't have seen any effects on it, so that's okay. But that is the actual sky scope. That's the periscope. Right, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Soon you should see a bit more weathering. I have got more weathering to do on the deck, so this is just that was just the first stage in my vector using Lifecolors. All the paints I've used on this model have been Lifecolors, including all the wood effects, and I think she's coming along nicely. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with her. Got now for the rusty bit. See you later. Happy modelling. Oh, and to Harry Deaney, yeah, I like his nice little modelling workshop. Looks really great, and I definitely do like his Apple computer. Yeah, although I would say don't eat it because it won't be the same as a normal Apple. Anyway, happy modelling. Bye.